Legends of Newnan, which, as Ms. Donovan told you, is an affordable, high-quality, age-restricted, independent senior living project. I have with me a group of experts who will be available to answer questions during the question section. Sean Reinhardt is the project manager. Mike Riley is the project architect. Franz von Leeuwen is the project engineer. Not with us tonight is Mark Sween. He's the project partner. He was here for the pre-planning meeting and for the planning commission meeting. He lost his mother on Saturday, and I told him I thought you would understand if he spent tonight with his family. But Mark was here to show that senior management at Dominium is wholeheartedly behind Newnan, and this, what I think you're going to see, is a very lovely project. Newnan needs Legends of Newnan. Why? Because, and this is an extract out of your recent housing study, over the next 20 years, the percentage of the population over 65 is going to increase by about 50% as a percentage of our population. Right now, current senior options are very limited. If you have the money, you can buy a new house, $350,000 plus. You can buy or rent an old house and repair the roof, repair air conditioning, the various things that go along with older property ownership. You can move into a new multi-family apartment complex with swinging singles and families and all that sort of thing going on. Or there's some multifamily available for seniors, but as Tracy Donovan just told you, it's very limited. And what Legends of Newnan does is expand the housing options for seniors in Newnan. It provides affordable new housing, not old rental, not old purchase, for people that are on fixed income, have a nest egg, a widow, that kind of thing. That's something that just is not available currently in Newnan. The typical resident, a 74-year-old female on fixed income. Age breakdown, 74% are 62 and older, 52% are over 70. The rents, this is a program under Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code. It doesn't subsidize the tenants. What it does is provide a credit, a tax credit to developers that they in turn pass along in rent savings. And as Ms. Donovan told you, up there on the screen are the rents anticipated for 2020. We'll get to this in just a second where we go through the evaluation criteria from staff, but staff did a good job. They're easy to work with. I like them. I consider them friends. But this project is not currently surrounded by commercial development. It just isn't. You have a Chevron that's been a marginal operation across the street. Up the road you have some big boxes, but commercial development has passed this property by. Here's the site plan Ms. Donovan showed you. I can't talk as quickly as she did, but nonetheless, I have a deadline, so I'm going to keep moving on these slides. Legends of Newnan is consistent with the philosophy of the land use plan. It expressed the intent for affordable, high-quality housing. It's centrally located in Newnan's medical corridor. Traffic is always an issue. Minimal rush hour traffic. Seniors aren't going to be out in rush hour. There's no demand on public schools. It allows current Newnan residents to age in place. And Dominium has found in its other projects across the country that about 60% of the residents move in from elsewhere to be closer to their grandchildren. We've proffered conditions. There's a lot of them. I know they're in your packet. But this project will be regulated by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, which administers a program under the Federal Housing for Older Persons Act and Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code. The project is deed and covenant restricted to protect the over 55 nature, over 80% of the units occupied by 55 and older. We've proffered a specific condition that there will be no exit or entrance onto Lower Fayetteville Road, and the ground signage will be tasteful. The Planning Commission, Ms. Donovan went through the conditions. They're up there on the board, will be conditioned to be consistent with the plans and so forth. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this project. Now, I've told you a lot about how nice this is going to be, and I wanted to spend a minute on who is this Dominium group that's coming in to do the development. Well, Dominium's one of the nation's largest providers of affordable housing. Dominium's philosophy is to hold rather than flip its projects. Over $3 billion in owned properties, 47 plus years in business, privately owned, multi-generational, and they manage over 30,000 units in 22 states. I'm going to move fast on this, but I was just fascinated living in a historic community. Dominium does lots of stuff. And up here you can see on top, they took an abandoned Schmidt's Brewery in St. Paul, Minnesota, and renovated it into artist lofts for rental. I mean, this is a company that can do it all. That's not what they're doing in Newnan. It's going to be more like what you see up there on the screen. Tasteful interiors. They're going to foster relationships with grandparents and couples aging in place. One of the things you don't get if you tell a senior, well, you can rent something new in one of these large multi-complexes, you don't rent and live with people who have things in common with you. This is an opportunity for people to live with folks in a similar age group, similar tastes, similar backgrounds. On the zoning standards, Ms. Donovan told you we passed 5 of them. And just a word about the ones that staff didn't think we passed. The comprehensive plan provides for clean industrial for the property. That is a zone that doesn't even exist in your ordinance. They've never had an application for it. There's no market for it. Consulting, that might be fine. But you all know the area we're talking about. And to say that it would be better for the community to have a call center with people coming and going during rush hour traffic, as opposed to seniors who aren't going to have the traffic demands. It's inconsistent with the comprehensive plan. Okay, the comprehensive plan map. I think the plan itself actually provided for affordable housing. Now the use is zoned. It's zoned for a shopping center. This isn't farmland, it's zoned for a shopping center. It's been on the market for 10 years. Commercial development has passed that area by. Commercial development would be a lot more intense in terms of traffic, and your land use plan itself provides something other than commercial. It says it should be clean industrial. So even your own land use plan doesn't say this property's future is commercial. And then finally, changing conditions. Yes, you adopted a new land use plan and zoning ordinance not long ago. But since then, you have on our south side the 8 Partners complex, and then the medical corridor has taken off beyond anyone's imagination with all the doctor's offices, the rehabilitation, the Piedmont Hospital, Cancer Treatment Center of America. So I would suggest that actually we get pretty close to 100% in terms of the objective zoning standards. So that's our project. I think it's a lovely one. I think it's something we need in this community. I'd like to reserve the remainder of my time for rebuttal, please.
Thank you, Mr. Rosenzweig. This is an opportunity for anyone who's in opposition of this rezoning application to come forward. Anyone in opposition? Seeing no one come forward, are there any questions of Mr. Rosenzweig? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you if you got any questions. Anyone?
I have one question.
Mr. Rosenzweig?
Well, it was for Ms. Tracy, or maybe Ms. Rosenzweig could help also. When I talked with a planning commission member about the proper conditions, he had mentioned something about the easement would be on a final plat, but I don't see that on there.
When they came in, if you're looking, I think it's condition number, right here.
Other than that, it's a great project.
It was during the site plan review process, the applicant would demonstrate to staff the potential location on the site where the adjoining property owner could connect for interparcel connectivity. That's what they ended up deciding on after back and forth regarding it. They didn't want to actually do an easement, but a location where they can do interconnectivity. And they'd work that out between the two property owners.
Okay, so that covers that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
Quick question. There at the turn-in for that medium break, is that going to be a lighted or unlighted, like a stoplight there?
It's my
Signal
understanding that
intersection.
right now, there's not a plan for a light.
Okay.
We may have somebody here that, yep,
Well, in order to have a light there, engineering would have to warrant a light. I mean, it would be, and engineering would be telling us if it warranted a light, yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
I do. Now I'm
All
a
right.
little confused because I thought that this plan had connectivity to one lot, and that's all I saw, but now I'm thinking, well, what about the other lots to the, well, to my left, looking at it on one of these plans? Is that one asking to be involved in this as well? I thought I understood before now, but now I'm, look, on this map that you've got behind you, you can see where there's connectivity to the lot that is below.
right.
But I don't see anything to the lot above, and not to the right, but above to the left, closest to the road. Is that what we're talking about?
Let me do just a little bit of explaining. The property on the south is the 8 Partners property where the apartments are going up. There, the 2 property owners on either side have had discussions about a slope easement and about connectivity. We've not had those discussions with the party on the north side. And so what was agreed upon, what we talked about at the Planning Commission, was in final site plan approval, a potential point of connectivity would be put on the site plan. But there's a lot of issues that are involved with connecting to an adjoining property. The property to the south, we know what that's going to be. Right now, they don't have any buyer, they don't have any specific plans for what's going on the north side. We don't know how much traffic, how intense it's going to be. So that's why after a lot of back and forth, Mr. Smith phrased the condition at the Planning Commission that what we do is mark the point of connectivity. So it's not on this yet, but it will be on the final site plan.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Actually, I've got a question that kind of just came to mind. I'm thinking about this, 202 parking units, 210 parking spots. If this is geared towards seniors, families coming to visit them, will there be enough parking for families, not only for the residents, but for parking, families to enjoy parking there as well, especially if they might spend the night, I don't know, something like that. Is that?
I think what they've found, and again, if somebody wants to elbow me out of here, tell me, but I think they've found that in some of their complexes, they have vacant parking lots that are undesirable and not, but this is Sean Reinhardt, the project manager. I'll pass the ball to him.
Thank you, George. Mr. Mayor and council members, Sean Reinhardt with Dominium. To answer that question, we have done extensive studies on all of our projects that are seniors and to determine what amount of parking is actually used and what amount of parking is vacant. And over several projects, we have determined what the best proportion of parking is. and it's actually based on a bedroom count versus a unit count, and the parking that we have here is reflective of that plan.
So you estimate it'll be adequate parking?
That's correct.
Okay. And since you're up there, just one other quick question. What is the average length of time you hold on to your developments?
Sure. We generally hold on to our developments for 15 to 20 years. It completely depends on the type of project, but with our new construction projects, we have a requirement to hold it for at least 15 years. But in this market, which we are very bullish on, and we really like the city of Newnan, we would plan to redo our tax credits and which is called a resyndication, which would sign us up for another 15 years.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at this time and ask for a motion from the council to accept the report and recommendation from the planning commission.
So moved.
Second?
Motion is second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Now, I would like to ask the council for a motion on the application.
I make a motion to approve with Proctor's, and all the conditions that were approved by the planning commission.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, a motion is second. We approve the application as presented with the proper conditions that were presented this evening. Any discussion? Questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you. Adopt that ordinance. Thank you. Thank you for being here this evening.